Hey everyone, and welcome back to Outta Here Baseball. In this video, we'll be looking at what happened to the 2001 Seattle Mariners. This is the debut of a series for this channel titled What Happened To, which you may see shortened to WHT. The aim of this series is to look at a notable season from a team in baseball history and see what happened to them in the years that followed that particular season. We will be looking at team performance, each of the noteworthy players, and even the management of the team as we attempt to determine what happened to the team. For this first video, that team is the Mariners. The 2001 Mariners are notable for their 116 regular season wins, a major league record for most wins in one season that they share with the 1906 Chicago Cubs. They scored the most runs in the majors, allowed the fewest, and stole the most bases, as they won their division and made it to the American League Championship Series, where they would lose to the New York Yankees in 5 games. At the time of recording, the Mariners have not been back to the playoffs since the 2001 season. In fact, it's the longest active playoff drought in North American sports. So why weren't they able to replicate their success in the following years? We'll look to answer that question and provide insight into one of the greatest single seasons in MLB history, as Outta Here Baseball presents What Happened to the 2001 Seattle Mariners. We'll begin by looking at each of the notable players from the team, starting with the catcher, Dan Wilson. Wilson was the primary catcher for the Mariners for over a decade and was even inducted into the Mariners Hall of Fame after his playing career was over. In 2001, at the age of 32, he put together a solid offensive season and made just one error in the field. The 1996 All-Star had another good offensive season in 2002, but the production fell off after that. Wilson continued to provide strong defense until his last season in 2005, still with the Mariners. First base was John Olerud. A 2-time All-Star with one of those appearances coming in 2001, Olerud is one of the most underrated players in recent history. He won 3 Gold Gloves with Seattle, and before that was a key player for the Blue Jays when they won back-to-back World Series in '92 and '93. Like Wilson, Olerud was 32 years old in 2001 and would have another strong season in 2002. His production declined in 2003, and in July '04, the Mariners released him. Olerud played his last season in 2005 with the Red Sox. A second baseman for this team was Bret Boone. Boone was an All-Star in 2001 and had his best overall season, finishing 3rd in AL MVP voting while also winning a Silver Slugger. He set a career high with 37 homers and led the American League in RBIs with 141. He had another good season in 2002 and had a top 10 MVP finish in '03, where he would make his last All-Star appearance. His offensive production dropped in '04, and in 2005, he was designated for assignment by the Mariners at the age of 36. He was traded to the Twins shortly after, and despite attempts at a comeback, would not play in the big leagues after that season. A fun note on Boone is that he comes from a large baseball family. His grandfather Ray was a World Series champion with the Indians in 1948. His father Bob was an All-Star catcher and World Series winner with the Phillies, and his brother Aaron was a one-time All-Star in 2003 and became manager of the Yankees in 2018. The Boones are one of 5 three-generational families in Major League history. Next up is third base, which was primarily manned by David Bell. Oddly enough, we have another member of a 3-generational MLB family in this team, this time in the form of David Bell. His grandfather Gus was a 4-time All-Star and member of the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. His father, Buddy, was a 6-time Gold Glove winner at third base and member of the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. And his brother Mike briefly played for the Reds in 2000. As for David, he was a serviceable third baseman for about a decade in the league. His 4 years with the Mariners were his most consistent in the majors, putting up average to just below average offensive numbers and providing good defense. His 2001 season was his last with the Mariners, as he was traded to the Giants in the offseason. He would later play for the Phillies and play his last Major League game in 2006 at age 33. Bell went into coaching after his playing career was over and was hired as the Reds manager heading into the 2019 season. The shortstop for the M's was Carlos Guillen. Venezuelan Carlos Guillen was part of the package of prospects, along with Freddy Garcia, from the Houston Astros exchanged for Randy Johnson. He provided good defense during his time with the Mariners and put together his best offensive season with them in 2003. The Mariners decided to trade the then 27-year-old Guillen while his value was high, sending him to the Detroit Tigers, who were coming off a dreadful 43-win season. They received utility infielder Ramon Santiago in return, and a player who never reached the majors. Guillen would blossom in Detroit, earning 3 All-Star selections and even getting a top 10 MVP finish in 2006 as the Tigers went to the World Series. In left field, the Mariners had Mark McLemore. McLamore played all over the diamond for the Mariners, appearing everywhere except first and catcher. He had one of his best seasons in 2001 at age 36, stealing 39 bases and hitting 9 triples, both career highs. He would re-sign with the Mariners in the offseason and play in Seattle for 2 more seasons, with his role getting smaller as time went on. He would last play in 2004 with the Athletics. Center field was Mike Cameron. Cameron only made 1 All-Star team in his career, and it came during the 2001 season, where he hit 25 homers, stole 34 bases, and won a Gold Glove. He came to Seattle in the year 2000 in the trade that sent Ken Griffey Jr. to Cincinnati. Being the direct replacement for the face of the franchise was never going to be easy, but Cameron played well during his tenure in Seattle, even hitting 4 home runs in a game on May 2, 2002. He left Seattle after the 2003 season as a free agent and would play in the bigs until 2011. In right field was the one and only Ichiro Suzuki, a player so good and popular he only needed to be called by his first name. Ichiro took the MLB by storm in 2001 as the first Japanese position player in league history. That year, he won AL MVP, Rookie of the Year, a Gold Glove, a Silver Slugger, was named to the All-Star team, and became the new face of the Mariners after the departure of Griffey Jr. One of the best pure hitters of all time, Ichiro made 10 straight All-Star appearances and won 10 straight Gold Gloves from 2001 to 2010 with the Mariners. His 262 hits in 2004 broke George Sisler's long-standing record for most hits in a single season. Ichiro's dominance eventually came to an end, and in 2012, he was traded to the Yankees. He eventually retired in 2018, back with the Mariners, having amassed over 3,000 hits and 500 stolen bases in his career. The designated hitter for the Mariners was another franchise icon, Edgar Martinez. Martinez played his entire 18-year career with the Mariners, providing steady production from the DH spot up until his final season in 2004. His 2001 season saw him hit 40 doubles and 23 homers while drawing 93 walks to just 90 strikeouts. He is still on the outside looking in at the Hall of Fame, but with 1 year left on the ballot, we can all hope he is part of the 2019 induction class. Before we get to the pitchers, we will touch on a few bench players. Al Martin played a number of games in left field and provided a decent left-handed bat in the lineup. He would leave via free agency in the offseason. 37-year-old Stan Javier also played in left field a bit during his last big league season and was a competent switch hitter. 2001 was also Mariners Hall of Famer Jay Buhner's last season in the majors. He only appeared in 19 games. Now onto the pitchers, beginning with Freddy Garcia. I mentioned earlier that Garcia came with Carlos Guillen in the Randy Johnson trade as a young prospect. He would finish 3rd for the AL Cy Young Award in 2001 at the age of 24 and make the All-Star team the next season. In 2004, with the Mariners struggling, he was traded to the White Sox for a handful of prospects that ultimately wouldn't make a significant impact on the Mariners. Garcia, on the other hand, would win the World Series in 2005 and would have a successful career. Also in the starting rotation was Jamie Moyer. The ageless wonder Jamie Moyer was already 38 during the 2001 season, but would continue to pitch in the majors until age 49. 2001 was one of his best seasons, as he finished 4th in Cy Young voting and won 20 games. He would remain with the Mariners until 2006, when he was traded to the Phillies, with whom he won the 2008 World Series. The last pitcher we will cover in detail is closer Kazuhiro Sasaki. Sasaki came over from Japan in 2000 and won the AL Rookie of the Year award at the age of 32. He held down the closer's role for the next 2 seasons for the Mariners, making the All-Star team in 2001 and 2002. His last season would be in 2003, but he still holds the record for most career saves in Mariners history with 129. Other notable pitchers include 2-time All-Star Aaron Seeley, who pitched 2 strong seasons for Seattle before leaving via free agency after the 2001 season. Paul Abbott would win 17 games for the Mariners in 2001, but was released after the 2002 season. John Halama won 10 games that season and left Seattle after the 2002 season. Joel Pinheiro looked like a star in the making in 2001, posting a 2.03 ERA and 75 innings at the age of 22. But would begin losing effectiveness around 2004. He later recaptured some of his early dominance and finished his career with 100 wins. Reliever Arthur Rhodes had a 1.72 ERA and would continue to pitch well in Seattle until leaving for Oakland after the 2003 season. Righty reliever Jeff Nelson would make his lone All-Star appearance in 2001 and was eventually traded to the Yankees in 2003. Norm Charlton would pitch his last season in the majors in 2001, famous for being part of the Nasty Boys bullpen for the 1990 Cincinnati Reds. And Ryan Franklin would pitch his first full season with the Mariners. As for management, longtime manager Lou Piniella left after the 2002 season, having won Manager of the Year in 2001. The Mariners have had 9 full-time or interim managers in the years following his departure. Hall of Fame GM Pat Gillick would leave as well following the 2003 season. So what about the Mariners as a team? Well, in 2002 and 2003, they narrowly missed out on playoff spots, winning 93 games in each season. Their division featured 2 other playoff-caliber teams in the Angels and Athletics, who had built a younger core of players compared to the Mariners. A lot of their team from 2001 was over 30 years old, and their decline in performance over the years that followed coincided with the downfall of the Mariners. In 2004, they won just 63 games, and by 2006, only Ichiro and Joel Pinheiro remained from the 2001 team. So to answer what happened to the 2001 Mariners, their terrific season came at a time when a lot of their players had their most productive year. They wanted to keep that core of players together for a few more years, but other talented teams got in the way. When that core got too old, they tore it down and started over with new players, but sadly, it hasn't gotten the Mariners back into the postseason for almost 2 decades. So that concludes our video on what happened to the 2001 Mariners. Do you have a suggestion for who we should cover next in this series? If so, leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Outta Here Baseball for more content. Thanks for watching.